And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. A vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. The vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because Joey Dallin and I, well, we basically had stuff that we still wanted to talk about that people didn't like to talk about because, reasons. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, pretty much everywhere. You can find me under that name wherever podcasts are sold, Shujin. I've got coffee tonight. There's reasons. I'll explain parts of that in a little bit. We have a truncated group. There's reasons. Again, I'll kind of fill you in on a whole bunch of the stuff. Top right-hand corner of the bingo card, otherwise known as your screen if you're watching us right now, because that's the way it played out this time, from up the northwest corner of North America. Down. Good evening. Hi.
Good evening. I like that you said you had everything prepped, but apparently not my location in relation to another location.
I didn't. You know, I looked at it and I was thinking to myself, do I want to? Do I not want? You know what? There's reasons. There's reasons tonight.
Yeah, to be fair, that is the problem with Canada is that our cities and our towns are so spread out and there's so few of them relative to the surface, relative to the provincial area. You can actually run out of names in a hurry.
Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, no, not when you start zooming around a little bit with Google Maps. You pan around a little bit. You find stuff. I mean, shit. I actually found the home of Burger Queen. Calling it Dairy Queen. Listen to me. That's actually that was fun. That was fun. It was actually great. They actually had one of the Google cars drive past it, so it was on the street view. That was brilliant. So,
well, I mean, hey, if Google can find, a cheating husband, then they can certainly find a Burger Queen.
That's
that's an old story.
That is Midwest, the U.S. Down and to the right a little bit. Bridget, good evening.
Good evening.
How you holding together, hon?
Oh, doing okay.
All right. And
I'm okay.
And a hop, skip, and a jump. And more skipping across the water over to Paris. Good morning, Joseph. It's good to see you again.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and fill in a couple of empty slots, so to speak, with the way that things are going right now. We know full well that Dallin and I had the fun of chatting him up last night for the show that we do there. He was not terribly unconscious, barely conscious last night. He was actually doing pretty good last night. So it's entirely possible with the way that stuff is going that he's just, he's exhausted, tired, sleeping off. And, the way that Dallin and I have heard him the last couple of weeks, don't blame him one bit. He shows up. You don't. That's fine. Don't sweat it. He's let's face it, guy's kind of working hard and he's got enough stress on him as it is. So,
Yeah, if you've ever heard the expression rode hard and put away wet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not in the context that some of us are thinking.
No, but considering some of the nights that he's worked where it's been raining and shit, oh yeah. Yeah, that's not far off from the truth at all. Unredo Tech is currently on the. Well, how do I best put this? He is taking a well-earned sabbatical for a little while, so he's going to be off, which is perfectly fine. He knows full well he's got every right to go ahead and you. Can I come in? You guys playing Uno over there? I'd like to join you. Can I play Uno? I'd like to play Uno now. Whatever. It's fine. So we will see. I am going to put out the word over at the skeptical podcaster groups and see if anybody wants to join us for a while. Specifically, I want to see if we can get someone who is female. I would especially love someone who is, well, how can I best put this? Someone non-Caucasian, especially. Because, let's face it, I've I kind of try to get as diverse as I can, and it'd be nice to have another lady on the group and somebody who's got a different perspective entirely, because let's face it, you are not Caucasian, especially here in the US. Yeah, your life is going to be quite a bit different from a lot of the rest of us, so I'd like to have a little bit of that, but we shall see. I'll put out the word and see where this all goes from us all. There are other things that are going on, obviously enough, because let's face it, it's there's stuff. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. Is what it is right now with the whole world. So except for New Zealand, apparently, who is doing a great job over there, guys. So congratulations. So we wait and see how all this plays out. So as usual, if you are with us live, feel free to take advantage of the live chat, which on my screen is over here, which for you people watching live is that direction also. So Stephanie, I do see you over there. And yes, I do prefer coffee. However, given the opportunity, and I got the opportunity to remind somebody of this, given the choice between coffee and a grasshopper, I will go ahead and I will get a grasshopper every time, just to make the guy at the bar go, wait, no, I remember this. I know how to make this. I do. Do I have milk? Yeah, I know how to make this. Which is exactly what happened at Anthrocon that year, by the way, Dallin. That's exactly what happened at the bar when I asked.
Yeah, which is weird because up here, grasshopper is actually a type of beer brewed by Big Rock. So as soon as you said, confusing the bartender, I'm like, what's so confusing about taking a bottle, popping the top, and handing it to you?
Ooh, I did not know this.
Yeah. Slight little bit of miscommunication there.
There could be. There could be.
It's not Swiss sauce.
No, it's good. And if anybody wants to know what goes into a grasshopper, milk, cream de mint, cream de cocoa, ice, shake it up. And what does it look like? It is green.
It's a mint milkshake.
Yes, it is, and it is.
It looks like you put chrysalis through a blender.
There's a special kind of person that actually understands that reference, and I am one of them.
Considering the webinar I had earlier this week and who was hosting it, can you blame me for going there?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's all good. Anyway, so obviously enough, there's going to be plenty of news to kind of talk about tonight. As far as to a topic, really, there isn't. So we're going to be all over the map. It's half check-in, half just whatever comes to our heads. So if this is the kind of thing that you want to hang out with us for, hey, cool, great. If it's something that you really want to go into, like one of the topics instead, that's cool too. Don't sweat it. We're not going to be upset if you don't like us anymore. It's fine. Piss off and
Be reminded, today's topic is no topic.
That's effectively it.
I read that last time.
I appreciate it. So how about I just go ahead and get everything rolling and start things off for us, so we kind of know where we're supposed to be. And of course, I've got the information for us to talk about when we come back. So with 5 minutes on the clock for you for tonight, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. And I did label it as Sunday. Now I try to make these topics, well, at least the wording for it is one word instead of two. There's a reason. There's a reason for that. It is actually supposed to be 2 words, Sunday. Because back in 1978, the American president, Jimmy Carter, otherwise known as the Peanut Farmer, disparagingly enough, that wimpy Democrat who put solar panels on the White House, which were subsequently taken down by the follow-up president, Ronald Reagan, May he continue to spin in whatever crevice he's now holed up into, but be that as it may. Sun Day was basically the equivalent of Earth Day. The idea is that for future generations, for us to be able to have power for all, we can simply harness the power of the sun. Because it's unregulated by any government agency. It cannot be stopped. And let's face it, until you end up running into that Y5B problem, it's pretty much active, even at night. Just a little tougher to get to, but be that as it may. The problem with that, however, is the same problem that ended up happening with my country formally adopting, societally, the metric system. Because, for whatever reason, the legislative branch in my country decided that they didn't like the soft-spoken Democrat peanut farmer in office for whatever reason, so they basically just scuttled all the stuff that he really wanted to do, which was, some good stuff. The metric system, we would like to think that, some of us actually know how to work the metric system. I mean, for most of us, it's as easy as, having both hands in front of your face, unless you're Bobby Carey, in which case it's 9 3/4. But, I digress. Love you, Bobby. But they scuttled stuff under his feet. The switch over to metric? Oh, it's too hard. It's too difficult. Why should we even bother? Yeah, how many feet are there in a mile? Or how many yards to a mile? Or how many inches to a foot? 12. Okay, that one's easy. Cool. Because everybody deals with, a dozen that way. That's nice. But why? Why does it have to be this archaic system that virtually nobody else follows anymore? I mean, 10 is easy. You just keep adding a 0 at the end or a 0 at the front and move the decimal points, and it's simple, it's easy, it's standardized. I mean, shit, when Great Britain decided that they were going to go to decimalization of their money, everybody threw a fit because now what are we going to do with our crowns and farthings and twopence? What are we going to do with all that? Oh, now we just have to count to 10. Okay. They made the switch. Here in the US, it should have been easy to do. But no, just like with Sunday, the switch over to decentralized power, cleaner power generation, was basically shoved aside for no good reason other than spite? I don't know, man. We find it's good enough for the International Space Station, and it's been up there for, a couple of decades. And they're doing just fine. Why can't we do it here? It would make sense. It's simplified. Everybody has their own power generation. Everybody has their own power storage. And everybody in communities could conceivably share if necessary. Supplemented with wind, which still comes from the sun, ultimately. Be a nice thing to do, wouldn't it? One less thing to have to worry about. And save the carbon dioxide generation for the winter in front of the fireplace. For just a couple hours at a time because it's fun. This is episode 309 on the docket, Your Honor. Dirty laundry. Like I said, we're just gonna, we're just gonna shoot the shit, is what it comes down to. Because, like I said, there's stuff. I've had a little bit of an emotional week. I will say as much with that as I've kind of come to an early empty nest syndrome because Tiny Tribble has decided where he wants to go to college and has pulled the pin on acceptance. So he's going to be roughly an hour and a half away from here when college starts, assuming they allow everybody to populate the college campuses again. We're not sure how that's all going to play out just yet, so we'll wait and see.
Wait, acceptance is a place?
He accepted he accepted what college he wants to go to, and he will be going. There were 3 that he was looking at, so he's going to be, like I said, he's going to be about an hour and a half away from here, as opposed to 4 or 5. So, so there was a lot of stuff that went into that was very tough on me emotionally. Basically because you remember the old you remember the old routine from Liberace. I wish my brother George were here, which I know got translated into Bugs Bunny using it, but I really wish my wife were here for this. So it was really tough on me. And specifically today, I had a really low trough day emotionally, for no reason other than it just kind of hit. Such happens. So I've had a couple of hours of really being down, but I'm okay at the moment. So it is what it is. And, we did get the word here in New York State that schools, public schools, will be closed for the remainder of the academic year. We don't know what that's going to be looking like for graduation ceremony or for, prom or anything like that. We're still waiting to see because everybody's kind of trying to MacGyver the shit out of all this. So, it will be what it will be. So we kind of have to wait and see. Is what it is. But we're here. We're going to do our thing. And we're going to keep, doing our best to help you guys out. Yeah. And Stephanie had mentioned, by the way, my talk about our ex-president. He was a successful peanut farmer, and he has continued into his 90s to continue working with Habitat for Humanity. I forgot to mention that. And he still goes out in his 90s helping to build houses. Shit. How cool is that? He's an old man and he's still doing his thing. Still happily married, if I remember right, too. So, good on you there.
Well, okay, the cynical part of me is thinking maybe that's why he still goes out in his 90s. Just saying. Look, I'm not throwing shade on the institution. I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility.
That's fair enough. And real quickly, I did go looking up information about Rafe Badawi. There is some kind of report that he may have been brought back into court for some reason or another. Something to do with his hunger strike. Not quite sure what's going on. Reports are sketchy at best, so blame the Magic 8 Ball on the problems that we've got getting legit information out from there. However, without him coming out at this point, as of the recording of tonight's show, it is now 7 years, 10 months, 17 days since Rafe Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crimes. Our hopes and our thoughts are still with you and your family. We are still waiting. And as an aside, remember, they have said that they will no longer be issuing whip strikes any longer. So that's something at least. So we can hope. So, folks, what do you say to kicking off the horrible scopes tonight and having a little bit of fun and then working through all this happy horse shit? Sounds like a plan?
Works for
Okay.
me.
So let me get you guys rolling over here. So, you know what? How about I let Dallin start tonight because I had intentionally written Aries with him in mind. So we'll just.
Oh, really?
Yes, I
Okay.
did, as a matter of fact. So
What's the order going to be then?
it's still going to continue the same way. It's just that we're starting with Dallin, then it'll come to you, then to Joseph, then back over to me, and flip back around that way.
Okay.
All right. Well, you lucky people. So here are your horrible scopes for this week. Starting off with Aries. The universe is lined up right where you want it. So take that pool cue and go for the trick shot. Hey, it worked for NASA in the 70s with Voyager. It can work for you. You'll win like you always do, with a wink and a kiss thrown to the crowd. Except the crowd is at home watching on the streaming service. At least playing billiards in VR, you can't bury your cue through the felt.
See,
I know exactly.
yes,
I know exactly why you did this.
yes, I did.
Taurus. You are very intelligent on your feet, but lose all credibility when sitting down, thus proving that you are a smartass. Look, if everyone else was to sit like Mork from Ork on their heads, eventually they'd sound like they were talking out their asses too. All you need to do is never sit down again, and you'll be the leader of Latveria in no time.
There's a handful of people that get that reference. Thank you.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Where are we? Gemini. Being a con artist has a number of connotations these days. Maybe you're a thief, maybe you're a sculptor, maybe you're working on the TV series Con Man with Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion. In any case, can you get Nathan's autograph for us? Maybe a lock of his hair? But I mean, something with a hair root still attached, for the DNA. What? No? Nothing like that? Just want to, clone him.
Yeah. Well, it's a choice. We can either clone him or we can get the chin. And again, there's a handful of people that get that reference, and you're my people. Cancer Moonchild, don't make a move. You know that? Stop. Shh. Just listen. You know that story you were told as a kid about how there was nothing in your closet at night and it was all just some weird pre-sleep dream you had? Yeah, that's totally what it was. It's not like someone snuck a shoebox with a hamster in your closet before you were going to bed to freak you out at night. No, never. Never happened that way. I never did the statute of limitations going on.
You know, I wish some people I knew had thought of pranks like that when I was a kid. Anyway, Leo, you know how much you hate people slurping their soup when it's hot? Well, you better reconsider that trip to Japan then. Hot noodles in hot soup like soba is supposed to be slurped. There's nothing wrong with that. And no, you're not going to put ice cubes in your miso soup to cool it down so you don't have to slurp too. I mean, who even does that?
Virgo. This horrible scope is closed for renovations. We apologize for any incontinence this closure has caused. This is the editor typing. Sorry for that mix-up. The original writer should not have said, "We apologize for any incontinence." What should have been written there was, "Sorry if we've pissed you off." Now, if you'd all kindly eat a big, fat, shut the hell up, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, suddenly. Okay, just a quick note. I read this one last night.
Mhm.
And I think I missed something there because at the end, the people I was talking to, since I wasn't at the club, all I typed in was, "What the hell did I just read?" And the response I got from everybody around me was, "We're not sure either." I think I missed a word. Anyways,
Joseph,
my turn.
Libra,
Sorry,
yes.
sorry. Still clicking away. You, Virgo.
Libra.
Oh no,
oh, Libra.
With damn near everyone on pandemic lockdown, career choices are a little tough to come by. The taxidermy practice we told you about got raided by the police when they were tipped off about a bare-handed deer hunt video showing the hunter losing the fight, and a very pissed off buck, bucking the hell out of the hunter. So we suggest becoming a nature wildlife photographer. Just be sure the deer can't get at you.
It's some people were paying attention less. Scorpio, the trees are budding, the birds are chirping, the frogs are peeping, the Canada goose are honking. Yeah, that's right. Some frogs peep. They don't croak. Some hiss too, kind of like Canada goose do. Maybe there's a connection. They both sound like Zeus. We know he did it as a swan, but did he do it with a frog? Someone go pull out the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons book Deities and Demigods and check to see what it says.
Sagittarius. Remember that story we did where we said you suck? Yeah, sorry about that. That was kind of mean to point out. What we didn't say was that we knew you'd get all passive aggressive at us at the time and not actually physically attack us. So now that the statute of limitations has expired, we cool now? Oh, and don't forget to close the curtain in the bathroom next time.
Record. Buy a box of fake eyeballs. You'll thank us later. Specifically in the fall when everyone else is trying to pull off a Nick Fury costume, you'll be ready ahead of time. All you need is a long black leather coat and a calico cap. Better make sure the coat sleeves are reinforced so the cap doesn't scratch your arms to hell.
Yeah, I see. I made a mistake on one. God, whatever. Aquarius. Oh, sorry, Joseph. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, well, better for me. We're not Aquarius. We're not talking to you exactly. Just the people who know you. Hey, friends of Aquariuses, you remember all those pictures you've taken where your Aquarius friend's face was all blurry? And it seems to happen almost every damn time? Yeah, that's not you, it's them. They are the Flash, and now Aquarius, you thought you could hide it forever, didn't you? Well, the word is out now.
And, of course, my fellow fish Pisces. Being the most artistically inclined of the group, you're going to need to make a theme song for Aquarius. There's been 2 TV series about the Flash, and one of them basically reused the 1989 Batman theme. So you need to come up with a new song for him that isn't derivative of someone else's work. And no, you can't use Fly to the Bumblebee. That was used by the Green Hornet. And those are your horrible scopes for this week. No backsies. Keep your receipt. Returns only in the original container. 15% restocking fee, and piss off. You're on your own. You got what you paid for. I don't know. Dallin, did you see the version of the trombone player doing the flood? I thought that you
I did.
would have.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if something like that is like a badge of honor for some people.
To be able to play it?
Well, yeah, like anybody, depending on the instrument you have, if you can do Flight of the Bumblebee with it, that kind of puts you to some kind of elite status or something.
Yeah, masochist.
That too, yeah.
I mean, there are certain instruments that Flight of the Bumblebee should not be played on, but can be. For instance, trombone. Okay, it's a lot more difficult, but okay. You mentioned tuba, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's still you speak from a technical standpoint. It's not that difficult, technologically speaking. Stringed instruments, it's a lot harder because the technology that is producing sound is a lot more finicky. Piano, yeah, it's a lot of speed that's involved. You should not ever play Flight of the Bumblebee on the oboe or the bassoon, ever.
Try it on a
Although,
kazoo.
if you do pull it off, you're a hero.
Joseph, what was that?
I said try it on a kazoo.
I I don't think that I should. I really don't think it's such a good idea. Nobody needs that.
Done it on clarinet before.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see. Well, I mean,
Okay,
considering the very first note of Rhapsody in Blue, anybody that can pull off that first clarinet note, wow.
well, I just went to YouTube just for fun.
Oh
And I typed in Flight of the Bumblebee, and you got the predictive text that comes up underneath?
no. Uh huh.
The following instruments that it listed are
Oh, balls! Here it comes.
violin,
Yeah.
guitar, trumpet, flute, trombone, piano, clarinet, saxophone, orchestra, bass, tuba, 325 beats per minute, and for all you parents with young kids,
No. No.
recorder.
Fuck.
Recorder.
Oh yeah. I think I played it on my chanter. It was the same.
Okay. Since we're down this avenue anyway,
Do you know what a
Jesus.
chanter is?
wait, what?
Do you know what a chanter is?
Yes.
No.
Oh, it's the
From bagpipes.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. I know of bagpipes. I know of Uillean pipes, and I can't pronounce it properly because I don't have that. Wait, what did you call it again?
chanter. Chanter.
Chanter.
It's the bottom part of the pipe. It's where all the finger holy things go.
Oh, okay. So it's a part of the bagpipe that you could actually blow through it and play it like its own instrument without the bag.
Yeah, and for practice, we have something that's nothing but that part of the instrument, so you don't annoy the neighbor so much.
So much.
I've actually
Notice
seen one.
that. That's the important part. So much. You're still gonna piss them off, but not quite as bad.
And
Yeah,
it looks a lot like a record.
Yeah, I've actually seen one in a video, which was a very interesting video. It was a collaboration between three bagpipers doing the song "Shipping Up to Boston," and then shifting into "Enter Sandman." And yes, just so you know, they pulled it off.
That's a hard thing to do because most people don't. Well, I'm not sure if people realize it or not, but I mean the bagpipe is out of tune. I mean, I think there's only two notes it can play. Tuned to other instruments. I think high A, E, and A. I think are the only notes that are tuned to.
Let's see if I can
quote
find
unquote,
it. Here it is.
Common traditional instruments.
Yeah, I never studied them, but as I recall, you've usually got three pipes up the top that are in. Oh God, I forgot what it's actually tuned to as far as to the drone chord that it should be. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Okay, that's an interesting thumbnail.
And that's an E.
Yeah, that's the song. So these three, they start off with "Shipping Up to Boston," and then they switch into "Enter Sandman." These three are actually the middle one. I believe she's known as the Snake Charmer. She also did a Star Wars medley that centered a lot around Duel of the Fates. Kind of almost, it was like Duel of the Fates, bagpipes mixed with dubstep. And again, she pulled it off. It's
Okay.
kind of like one of those things. It's one of those videos you look at and go, no, no, not no. And then you
Yeah.
hear it, and you're like, then you hear it, and you're like, damn.
Yeah. Let's see. Who else do I remember that did something like that? The Red Hot Chili Pipers doing AC/DC. No, they did. No, yes, they did a combination of Smoke on the Water and some other AC/DC, Thunderstruck, medleyed together. Yeah, weird stuff like that. I would arguably say one of the weirdest redos of a song when I found out that Paul Anka, who was huge in the 70s, decided that he would take popular songs from the 80s and redo them. So to hear a big band crooner sing Van Halen's "Jump," that's great. That's great.
Who was the other guy that did that? Oh, he did Big Band. It wasn't Paul Anka, but it was somebody else. He had an album and it was called "In a Metal Mood," and he did a big band version of Paradise City and a couple of others, and he got into like 12 levels of hell from his
We're not talking about Richard Cheese, right?
no.
Okay.
Oh, let me see if I can find him.
For anybody that goes looking up Richard Cheese, don't go looking up Richard. Seriously, if you're on a work computer, don't go looking up Richard Cheese. Not now.
I got it. Pat Boone.
Oh.
Yeah, Pat Boone did an entire album called "In a Metal Mood" where he did big band, excuse me, covers of like Guns N' Roses and a couple of three others. And apparently, amongst his peer group, he got into a ton of crap for it.
Okay. On the bright side, I was thinking of somebody else entirely for a couple of seconds there. Oh shit, who the hell? Camelot. Crap. Who was that? Shit, I don't remember who the hell that was. I'm gonna have to look that up. Kalanka Swings. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. No, what was the what was you talking about? Camelot. You said
It was.
because Camelot could be that's a symphonic metal band that I know quite well. Or it was the stage play.
Yes.
What you're thinking? So you're thinking oh god,
Camelot.
he played
Here we go.
He played Dumbledore.
No, wait a minute. Wait. Who was it? The Here in Camelot.
Yeah.
God, who the frick was it the movie version? Oh, it was the movie version. That's why.
You're thinking Richard Harris?
I might be. So Richard Harris as King Arthur?
Yeah.
I was talking about bagpipes.
I think we kind of went from bagpipes to just weird versions of music.
Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there? No, it must have been. Wow. Okay. Admittedly, he was much younger at the time, so I'm picturing him quite a bit differently.
You know, it's funny. I
what it is.
went looking for a clip and I saw the movie version. Like, but the one I saw was actually a stage performance that was done, and it was aired on HBO way back when. So that's the one I remember. I don't remember him doing a movie version.
I don't know that he. See, I closed that window and I shouldn't have.
I'm just gonna take invented. Just a shout out to my nephew, Tage, who is the I don't think he's the official bagpiper, but anyways, for the Canadian Army.
Very cool.
Yeah. So he taking up the flame, finishing what I never finished, because I only began to learn the bagpipes. I mean, I can play, but it has been what 35 years.
It would have been so much fun if that had been an option for me to learn in school, like for the band.
Good luck hearing anybody else.
Yeah.
It's all about me.
Nothing up with that. And Stephanie, yep, you're right. Richard Harris was in the movie. Yeah, I think I saw that on. I think I saw that on HBO at the time too. Yeah. And funny enough, I went looking up the play, the theater production, and I saw that it was originally over at the Winter Garden in New York City, and I'm pretty sure I've seen something at the Winter Garden once upon a time ago, and that's why I'm kind of looking through the list of all the stuff that's been there, and it's like, oh, you guys started in 1911? Oh my God, I'm pretty sure I didn't see anything back then. So let's see, what's been there? MAME. Oh my God, MAME.
It was more than 39 years ago.
It's, you know what? I believe the expression I'm looking for here is, now look here, you little shit. I'm
not sure Gallant qualifies as a little shit.
No, it'd be kind of like, you know,
the big shit doesn't really have the.
No, it doesn't quite have the same.
It would be him yelling at me. Joseph would be kind of like Joe Pesci having to like crane up to look at Andre the Giant.
Whoa!
How tall are you, by the way?
I'm going in freedom units here for everybody. I'm 6'3".
Okay.
That qualifies as 2 meters as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just playing at 6 feet.
Yeah, close enough. I'm a little shorter than. You know, we're not going to get into that. I just, like I said, I'm looking at the listing. 1982. Othello, which okay, cool, and Cats. But then there's a complete break from 1982 until 2001. So even back in the day, Cats was destined to kill theaters. All these years later.
Well, the movie.
Yes.
I actually did. I did go see a stage production of Cats here.
Okay.
And it was actually kind of neat.
Yeah.
Although it was kind of interesting, a local suitor that you and I both know, Temperance.
Mm-hmm.
When they were coming to town, she actually contacted the theater and offered her services to help with makeup because name the cat, she can do it. She can do the makeup. Hell, she's got costumes. I've seen pictures of her in the Cat's cosplays that she's done. And I guarantee you that is like Broadway quality, if that's such a thing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
it absolutely is.
Yeah, they turned her down. And decided to go with something that was perhaps a little bit cheaper looking. And I was talking to her about it, and I was just like you offered with, and I think she offered without pay. And, you know, just to, I mean,
gonna make the rest of us look bad.
Well,
basically,
exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have seen the head that I have, the big tiger head that I've got. She's the one that made it.
Yes. By the way, yeah, there it is. That's what I was looking for. It wasn't Richard Harris. It was Robert Goulet. That's who I was picturing because I was looking through the rest of the thing and it's just like Goulet is over there. And it's just like, oh shit, yeah, that's who it was. Fuck, he died in 07. 73 years young. Wow, damn. All right.
Actually, while I was out and about today, I turned on NPR because reasons,
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
and they were doing something. It was called the Fresh Air Weekend. I guess it's a thing that they do,
Uh,
and
sometimes, yeah.
yeah, and found out that Bill Withers passed away this week. If this is the guy I think it is, give me a second. Yeah, uh, Lean on Me,
Yep.
Ain't No Sunshine. That was him.
Yep.
And yeah, he so the guy who was on NPR, he'd interviewed him twice in his lifetime,
Wow.
and they were playing parts of the interview. I didn't catch all of it because I was in and out of my car, but wow, you know, and it's just like just thinking to go, well, damn, there goes another one.
Well, there's going to be. That's kind of the thing. We're gonna kind of end up seeing that, and to me, part of that problem is that there's a certain mystique that comes out of the pre-digital age because you got people who worked their asses off to be good at the entertainment biz. And you I've said it before, if you couldn't hold a note, you couldn't hold a job. And
I
these
I
people, man.
I will fight on that. I still think that you still need to get good, to borrow a gaming term. Like you see a lot of these artists on YouTube these days. Just as an example, you've got guys like Peter Hollins, Jonathan Young, Caleb Hayes, Leo Maracchioli, Frogleaf Studios. Um, these guys are able to hold a note.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find the name of the band. Sorry if I'm flipping around here a lot, but uh,
While you're looking that up, let me also kind of butter a little bit of the bread on this one. I still remember hearing stories about how if you had some money, you could go to an independent recording studio. They got a studio band, come in with your music, come in with your money, give you, 20 minutes, half an hour in the booth, give the guys 10 minutes to practice, 5 minutes to practice. Okay, we're good, we're ready to go. Okay, let's go ahead and record you. All right, hang on, we'll have a couple of 45s pressed for you by the end of tomorrow
yeah.
that you can then give out or sell or whatever.
Well, it's funny. Have you seen the movie "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" with George Clooney?
Have not.
Okay, that whole scene you just described was actually one of the scenes in the movie where these guys got together. They paid the money. They recorded, but didn't think too much about it. And then later on in the movie, they ended up back on stage, started singing the song, and apparently everybody recognized who they were. I guess word got out. Um, okay, I found the band I was talking about.
Hmm.
They're called Small Town Titans. Three-piece band. Again, just like a lot of the other bands out there these days. But this is why I brought them up. They did a cover of Queen's "Fat Bottom Girls."
Okay.
They knocked it out of the park.
Nice.
The melody, when the song first starts, I'm not even going to try it because
Nope.
I value my
Yeah.
dignity.
And what few vocal cords you might still have left after that.
Yeah, I've got some recording to do tomorrow of my own. Anyways, the first note that they hit, the three of them, if Freddie was looking down from wherever, he'd be smiling. They did put a slight edge on the guitars, You know, I mean, it wasn't a like a one-to-one note, or like it's not a one-to-one thing.
No, I got you.
But still, and even in the comments, people are saying, you know, I don't like it when Queen does a cover, but you killed it. Like, or I don't. A lot of people, you know, Queen to a lot of people, it's sacrosanct. You know, it's the band for good reason. You
Yeah.
need it's a unique sound. Um, Not many people could. I mean, I think the closest one I ever heard that was even close to Freddie's voice was George Michael back in the day. I mean, there was rumor that he might have been. No, there was a rumor after the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, uh, after he died. Apparently, George Michael did the song. I think it was "Somebody to Love"
Mm-hmm.
at the concert. Apparently, he went into the studio with Queen, the rest of the band, to record it. And there was rumor going around that he was going to become the new frontman, but it didn't work out. So, yeah.
He's he was a special kind of crazy man.
Oh, he's a tough act to follow. Um, but like I was saying, like these guys, um, a lot of these other bands out there, the delivery, like being able to get your name out there, is much easier. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's guaranteed success. It just means that now you don't have to go to Sony, BMG, Casablanca, you know, all the big record labels. You don't have to do that anymore.
True, but there's also another avenue. Remember, it used to be that you had handfuls of AM radio stations originally.
Yeah.
And then FM sort of started to come in and was really hard to get into because purists didn't want to go over to FM, which was the whole reason why WKRP in Cincinnati was so funny. They were trying to bridge the gap into pulling the AM folks over to the FM scene. That's what the whole joke of it all was.
Stereo. Wow.
Well, amongst other things. But the problem was, compared to now, how many independently owned and operated radio stations are there at this point where you could go in with a demo and say, I would love to give for you guys to be able to put into rotation, and there you go.
Yeah.
Compared to now where, you know, every market has got their version of Jack FM and there are no actual DJs. It's all pre-recorded bumpers, and why the hell bother with anything?
Yeah, but even then, okay, like listening to Jack FM here, I'm not hearing a lot of new stuff. You know, if I want to hear something new, I end up stumbling across it on YouTube, or it hits my Discover list on Spotify, or you know, maybe if I'm flipping around on Sirius XM, you know, I'll hear it there. And that's the thing, is that there are so many venues these days that, you know, you don't have to deal with radio. You can actually get rid of all the bureaucracy that was involved in getting your voice out there. You know, and quite literally, you make 100% of the profits. And if, you know, if these Small Town Titans guys or Jonathan Young, if they want to press their own CDs, there's a dozen services they can go to. They'll get it professionally labeled, recorded, QA'd, and then shipped out directly to the owner. You know, but of course these days a lot of people do digital download.
Yeah, see, I got vibrators.
Oh, I still got mine.
Yeah,
I'd like to make a shout out to there's a group I love, Radiohead. They were the
Yeah.
first in that.
back in the day, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're their own label basically,
Yeah,
and they were putting their shit out free.
yeah, I believe it.
They were the first to put out an album. They said, well, they put out an album live on the internet. This is probably going back to wow, 2003 or something like that. And they said, okay, you pay any price you want to for it.
Oh,
And
I remember that. Yeah.
for
And
me, stupidly, I paid actually more than the price of the album buying it online. But anyways,
who was it? Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails. He did the same thing.
And then somebody had an album on the shelves that pissed off the stores because it was, I believe the name of the album was "Steal This Album" or "Steal
Yeah.
This Record," and well, that
what was the name of that group?
I do not know. But man, you want to talk about the most punk thing?
Well, and there was another one. And okay, I'm going back again to into the Wayback Machine here, when podcasting first came out. Shujin, you remember this, the PodSafe Music Network.
Yep.
Okay, so what that was a repository that artists could dump music into that podcasters could use on their shows without threat of penalty. They could use it royalty free. They just had to shout out, who the band was. And a lot of places, the hell, I knew three podcasts that basically owed their existence to that network. It was UC Radio, Accident Hash with CC Chapman, and High Orbit with Matthew Ebel. Because that's what they did. They were music shows.
Yep. And right now it's does the music that we're using now.
Oh, Kevin MacLeod.
Yeah, and he is almost singularly responsible for a good 70% of YouTubers' music right now because he's a god.
Yeah, and then I've got Digital Juice so that I can get all that stuff too. It's it's a Netflix for content. It's visuals, it's audio, it's sound effects. Some of them cheesy, but yeah, what are you gonna do?
It's the whole McCoy. And by the way, I did find it. It was called "Steal This Album" by System of a Down.
There you go. Anyways, one of the PodSafe artists, their name was Black Lab.
Yes, I remember that. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going back here. Now, what they did, what a lot of pod show casters did, is they decided they were going to do something, and it was called Bum Rush the Charts. Black Lab's song "Mine Again" was available on iTunes back in the day, and what they wanted everybody to do was to get as many of their followers and listeners as possible to go to iTunes on a particular day and buy the song.
Ooh.
Well, because this was going to be a statement. This was going to be their way of saying, we're here. We don't care about music companies. We're going to show you what the people can do. And I think for a day, that song was number one on everybody's charts.
Yep.
So it was a proof of concept that people were willing to pay 99 cents for a song or whatever. And you didn't have to go buy a $20 CD that had one song and then, 15 tracks that were all crap. Admittedly, So, yeah, it was just something.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this was, 13, 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only gotten better. Now you can listen to stuff on YouTube. If you want to go buy their stuff, you can go directly to their store. You don't have to go to any of the big labels anymore. Which is weird because you walk into Sunrise Records or some other place, or even Tower Records if it's still around in the States. There's still tons of people still doing it the old-fashioned way, and I guess they're doing okay. I don't think every store is surviving on Funko Pops yet.
Because you got people like me that still buys actual CDs because,
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. How do I best put this? Worst comes to worst, if something goes poof on my side, it would take me a while, but I could reintroduce the whole damn thing again if I really needed to.
Yeah.
And truth be told, if I were to actually I'm sitting with one of the stacks of CDs from my floor up to my shoulder high. So that's a good. That's a good meter two next to me of CD jewel cases, mostly CD jewel cases. Some are, thin, but
Yep.
the fun part of it is I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, all that work of my trying to take all my music and put it down to hexadecimal might maybe be easier for me just to re-rip all this shit. But then there's a whole bunch of stuff that isn't ripped from CDs that's been otherwise creatively acquired. No, not saying anything from there. I got a real weird collection of shit over here, man. That was something that was fun, though. Yeah, you wouldn't exactly know all of what you got if you were getting a full album. But then you ended up with stuff that was fun because it was art, musically
Yes.
speaking.
Yeah.
The best option that I can give you was I think it was the first and second. I forget which one it was, but I'm pretty sure the first album by Chicago Transit Authority, before they had to change their name because they got sued, almost got sued, was a double album 4-side record album. And I'm saying it that way because it's kind of a weird thing. You opened it up, there's one record on this side, and there's another record on this side inside of their sleeves, and you put them on the spindle, and side one would play, side two would drop down and play, and you flip the whole thing over and you get 3 and 4. Some people don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't care. Don't worry about it. But I forget which album it was or what side, but the entire side of one record platter was effectively one long song broken up into like 5-6 tracks, but each song ended on a chord that carried over and started the next track. And it was amazing for me listening to this, and it was just like, okay, you ended on this. Let's see, what was it? Color My World in particular ended off with this big, what's called a color chord, where it was a musical version of basically laying your hand and your arm on the piano, but it was done right. So it actually had an actual chord structure, and they held that, and the next song picked up from that chord and launched on, which was Now More Than Ever. Two very
you're
famous
saying
songs.
The entire album was done in one take?
It could have been. I don't know. It would be it even at the time, which would have put it at 1969, if I remember right. They would have been able to splice tape in order to get, but at the same time, it just was for the listener, just one long song
Yeah.
with different movements to it.
Yeah, but even even in the 80s and 90s, you would buy an album for a song, but the rest of the album still had to be good, because if you wanted people to drop the $10-15 to buy your album, okay, they would buy it, they would listen to the one song, and then if the rest of the album was crap, then you're not going to be able to sell your next album, because now you've got a reputation of being like a one-hit wonder. But as things changed, as you know, like now you can just buy the single for 99 cents online. You don't have to go and buy an entire album. There was a transition there where, yeah, you buy a CD because you've got that one hit, and the rest of it quite literally is garbage. You know, once in a while, you know, with some you could find a gem or two hidden on a CD. You know, you listen to the hit song, great. Listen to the next song, wow, this is actually pretty good. Oh, this one's pretty good too. Yeah, I like this one too. But oh god, what was one? Where I started to see this go wrong was Pearl Jam. And yes, I'm calling that band out. They had an album out called Vitology, and it had a song on it called Better Man, which was the hit. A bit of a dark, creepy kind of song. I liked it, so I ended up buying the album. That one song was the only thing on it that I could actually listen to without wanting to vomit on everything else. It was trash. And I think in a lot of cases, like as the one hit, as you now being able to selectively buy whatever singles you wanted evolved, there was less desire or less willingness on the part of bands to compile a whole album full of decent music, because, well, you know, I can make $1 million off of one hit. Why should I put any effort into anything else? You know, they didn't get into the whole art for art's sake, and that's what you're seeing more of nowadays. Like you look at well, again, I go back to Frogleaf Studios. Buddy's got, I think, 27 albums worth of content right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all mostly metal or acoustic covers of songs.
But he's doing his thing.
He's doing his thing. These Small Town Titans guys, they've got their stuff out there. They're doing their thing.
Pepper Coyote, as I recall, has got easy 15.
Okay. You want to go that road? Fox some more.
Yep. Also, and they've collaborated on a lot of stuff.
Oh, I know.
Now, see I think the thing that we kind of need to really recognize at this point is that for these guys that we're talking about, where they're otherwise unaffiliated with the commercial music industry, and I think it's important to kind of make that distinction on that. They're doing it because they enjoy it, because the love of the art. I'm not saying that these guys don't have a love of the art, but it's far more the business of making something consumable and sellable.
In terms of,
well,
you mean the commercial labels are doing that?
Yes, because I mean, business model, but how do I put this? For those that are doing it because they enjoy making the music, they making the art.
Yeah.
And they are able to find their audience, which is not a guarantee.
That's right.
And are able to make a living off of that, which is, again, not a guarantee, especially these days. You know, these tend to be the people for me who are really working. They're trying to present the best possible for the art. How
Can't
many
we?
times? I'm sorry.
Can't we? Yeah, can't we? No, me. Can't we extend that to any trade?
Absolutely, absolutely. But the reason why I'm going this angle with musicians in particular is because anybody. All right. I'm going to make a bad generalization for a second. Just hear me out a second. Quote unquote, anybody could go out there, record themselves doing a song, and then bend notes and auto tune any which way that they really want to. Sometimes intent for the intent of bringing across a fake sound, sometimes to kind of fix a little bit of, a little bit of futzing here and there. But then you
Have
got.
you?
Well, hold on a second. Let me finish this thought.
Yeah, of course.
But then you've got the guys who go out onto the train platforms day in and day out because they're working for the tips, and some of these guys are some of the best singers and performers that you would hear on a daily basis because they're out there doing. Is it because they're intentionally doing it for the money, or because they really love the art? Is it a combination? It's hard to say, but these are people that you would otherwise never get the chance of hearing in a much more public forum like an online collection. And where would you even find these guys except for stuff like the YouTube channel play? Oh God, what the hell is the name of it? Something for Change. I forgot what the hell the name of the thing is. Anyway, while I look that up, Joseph, go ahead and pull me back into whatever.
Yeah, well, I originally wanted to make an allusion to take Depeche Mode's first album. I'm sorry to say, but those fuckers couldn't sing. And if you've ever tried to play the guitar to anything, one of the first albums, it is so auto-tuned or adjusted, whatever you want to call it, that it's completely out of out of chord. Yeah, you can't tune a guitar to it. You basically have to. I had to take the MP3 and speed it up to make it fit in the quote unquote traditional chord system. But when you're talking about, you went on to talk about, the mix of love for the arts and making money. Well, I can extend that to any trade as well. I mean, it should be a mix of both because if you're really interested by what you're doing, well, you want to make a better thing that others will appreciate, and if others appreciate whatever you do, whatever you found, whatever your experiment is, then yeah, you're going to make a living from it, and that would be a more or less natural way of earning an income. But unfortunately, the market is dominated by uh, the profit oriented people who haven't got a fucking clue how to do anything themselves. So all they know how to do is produce what is already sold in the past, and that goes for music, that goes for fashion, that goes for pretty well anything. So you've got the result of that is groups like, Nickelback.
Yeah. Actually, Gene Simmons had a thing about that in a book he wrote. It was called Sex, Money, Kiss. And it's been a while since I read it, but I'm going to paraphrase what he had said. You've got your job, you've got your hobby. You do your job to pay for your hobby until your hobby makes you money. Then you quit your job and you live off your hobby. So just because, some band is just absolutely killing it on, as an independent and has got online sales and is doing really, really well, and they're actually making money off of it, I would definitely not ascribe anything nefarious to that. It's just that they found an audience, they're doing what they love, and the fact that they're actually able to live off of that and continue to develop their, develop themselves as artists, I think is a good thing. Another case, there's a band. This is a European power metal band. Have you guys figured out that I'm a metalhead yet? The band is called JEDI, and they actually interviewed the leader of the band, Tobias Sammet, and what I heard their first stuff. Like I listened to their first album. It was very done in a garage, is what it sounded like. But then they took the sales and the proceeds from that album and they invested better amps, better instruments, a studio time. The next album sounded better. Took the proceeds from that, better equipment, better sound conditioning. Next album comes out, great. They reinvest again. Now they're hiring orchestras or small like string quartets and stuff to give the melodic metal feel. And that's what he's constantly done.
I give you a counter proposal. ZZ Top. I forget who the guy that plays guitar. Constantly, when they go out on tour, constantly has like otherwise really crappy instruments brought for him to play on stage, and the whole point is, look, you want to show me the crappy guitar that you got there? Okay, let me just make sure it's in tune. Okay, here we go. Let me go ahead and show you what a good player sounds like on a crappy guitar. And the instrumentalist makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
It's a poor man who blames his tools.
Yeah.
To a degree, we can't say that it's all the instrumentalist or it's all the instrument. There is definitely a very wide gray line where one can be blamed where the other cannot. I mean, Lord knows, I played a real crap bass in high school, old. But, I've said before, it was like playing an extension of my body because I was in sync with what I was doing with that instrument.
Every tool you use is an extension of your brain, your body.
The electric stand-up double bass that I tried to play would very much disagree with you on this. That was a piece of shit. It was a piece of shit.
Well, and I think that's it. It's like anything. You work with it, you understand that particular instrument's idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
And you adapt. So now if you play that one for a number of years, you get really good at it. They put another bass in your hand. It might take you some time to understand it as well. But by then, you've got enough talent on your own that you can meet it 90% of the way, and then it just leaves the other 10% for you to understand, okay, what's the quirk on this thing that I need to know?
It's like the expression, in usual, it takes 90% more work to sound 10% better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of in line with that. And I mean, I'm still learning to play guitar, and the guitar I'm using is like a piece of shit. I mean, it's a Chinese, probably 1970s era Fender knockoff, and let me tell you, whenever I get a real guitar in my hands, yeah, that's really something. The difference is enormous. But if I can make it sound good on that guitar, and I can make it sound good on anything.
Well, one would hope.
Um,
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm looking for the same type of bass that I played, and my Google search is coming up with some really really funky versions. A headless electric double bass where the body is literally just a couple of centimeters wider than the four strings on it. I don't even know. I don't even know what to do with some of these things. It's just.
Well, headless basses, I've actually seen.
Oh, sure, for electric, I've seen
I've seen
that.
Geddy Lee do those.
But just oh god.
testing to see if Bridget's still there.
You have seen through my ruse, good sir.
Yeah, I'm still here. I just saw the last one walk out of the kitchen.
That's okay. Yeah.
Between the ice maker and throwing stuff in the oven and rifling through the cereal boxes.
Oh, is it baby season again? Shit, I forgot.
I don't know.
That's okay. Yeah, I can't find the one that I tried to play. It was ugly. Just yeah, it was just ugly. Oh, anyway.
Shout out to Davey 504.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows who I'm talking about.
No, don't.
Look him up.
No, tell us.
Davey 504. If you want to see original content, there's nobody who does videos like this guy, and I think that's all it's termed. But he's a bass guitarist. You're gonna spend the first 10 minutes in probably what the fuck am I watching mode. And he explains all the techniques of playing guitar and bass guitar. Anyway, he's a bass guitarist from Italy.
That's okay. There is one bass player. I don't know what the hell his name is. I'm looking it up right now. Okay. When I was doing the college radio, because I was in the right place at the right time. It's a long story. The guy that would do the show after we got done, myself and Dr. Bill, we were doing the Mad Trivia Party here in Buffalo. Long story. I've got a whole shit ton of cassette tapes that were recorded from all that. The guy, Jesse, oh, wow, I hadn't thought of that in a long time, would have the show after us if he showed up, the live show. And he would just play, live tracks of stuff that they were allowed to. And the song that he started off with was something called The Sinister Minister, done by Béla, Fleck, and the Flecktones. Béla was is a banjo player, if I remember correctly. But they do kind of jazz fusion in the song. And his bass player, where is he? Synth, X, drum, guitar, bass. Victor Wooten. That's him. Victor Wooten, on this song, if I remember correctly, plays a headless, fretless bass guitar. And I swear to Christ, I have no idea how he gets the sound out of it that he does. Slapping, hammering, pulling strings. He turns it into an absolute percussion solo that I have no freaking clue how he did. And I still have yet to find a video of him actually playing this goddamn song, because it's insane. I'm going to make sure that it's in the show notes because, oh my God, this guy was a fucking animal. That's my one. That's my one for the night.
Look up DV504. He's kind of in that vein.
Dave.
Davey, Davey 504. What's up, slappers?
504?
Yeah.
DV504. Oh, YouTube.
A super popular.
The first video hit that comes up on YouTube is from Davey504 from June of 2016. The title of the video is "Do You Get Laid?" Q&A with Davey. So,
Yeah, which is the one question every bassist hates to answer.
yeah, no.
Wasn't there an article somebody put out? I think it was The Onion. Put out an article about a groupie who by accident slept with the bass guitarist of the group.
Hey, Bridget, turn on your microphone for a couple seconds and just say hi.
Hi.
Wow, shit, that worked. I didn't think it was gonna.
So is the popcorn ready?
That's a sore subject right now. Oh,
Yeah, my daughter was completely like, I forgot what time it was. I'm so sorry.
What time is it there now?
It's 12:33.
it's late.
It's late.
And everybody's still up.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Can you hear that?
No, actually, I can't hear anything.
Basically, now I'm at an age where I'm doing everything that my parents wanted me to do. Go to bed at 9.
Get your hair cut.
Oh, that never.
Well,
Yeah,
I'd love to
that's
get
a-
my hair cut if there was a
Oh,
place to get it cut out.
You know,
but
you know,
I'm telling you, I'm eyeing those clippers that I have in the bathroom. Just I've been sorely tempted just because it's driving me.
there's
Again,
nothing.
it's-
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Boredom, lack of experience, and a pair of clippers is a very bad thing.
Yeah, that's something I just don't want to think about at this point.
All right, let me
That's a
point.
reverse. That's a reverse mohawk. What the hell?
Let's not go there. Tiny Triple is kind of semi buzzing his head, except for the middle, so he can start working on a punky kind of. Okay, so let me explain something about my hair for a second. My hair, is do not adjust the saturation level on your YouTube. This is actually what it looks like now. I know, is what it is. But my hair is short. It is quite short. And it has been quite short for several years now. The reason was, you love this, when I went to work at the bakery, I had to wear a hairnet and a beard catcher. Yes, there is also a hairnet for beards.
Yeah.
And then I found out in my county, or I forget if it was the state regs, I forget which one it was. Anyway, it turns out if your hair, including whiskers, are under a 1/4 inch, you do not need to wear a hairnet or a catcher. So I had gotten ahead and gotten some electric clippers and did my head. And I've kept it like this, pretty much since. Here's the fun part. One of the bosses who had taken over the place, and you notice I've never said the name of the place
Right.
for reasons. One of the bosses took umbrage at this and told me, no, I still need to wear a hairnet, blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, as a matter of fact, I looked up the regs, and I'm legal, I'm in the clear, everything's fine. Threw a hissy fit, came back later. I don't remember how long it was afterwards. I forget if it was later that day or the next day. And had a computer printout from a web page with a highlighted section that said that you're supposed to wear a hairnet from Ireland. It was the health department regulations regarding wearing a hairnet in a cooking environment from Ireland. And I had to explain to him, this isn't legal in any way, shape, or form here.
That's a great example of, that's like an apologist stance. You start with the premise,
Yep.
and you can find any fact you want to.
Yeah, I think he was more pissed off that I knew the regs better than he did. He was also the guy who claimed to have been a professional photographer for a while, borrowed my camera when I brought it in, my good 35mm camera, and swapped lenses and did not cover the backside of the lenses with their covers when he switched them, and just dropped it into my bag. I was unhappy at that, and never let him touch my equipment again. You want to be a professional? Cool. You want to go ahead and be higgledy-piggledy with your equipment? That's fine. You're borrowing somebody else's. You should be treating it with the best possible, one would think. But that's me, you know? I don't have 14 grand to sink on a digital SLR body.
Well, I don't know how many rabbit holes there are to follow in that story, but I mean, already he's borrowing your camera, so he thinks your professional camera will make him a professional photographer. Oh shit, didn't work out, so who gives a fuck? Throw it all in the bag, send it back.
Well, he you know what? That rabbit hole is real simple. He was a tool.
He was a manager, wasn't
he? He was one of the owners of the company at the time. He was also
no fucking clue about was he an actual? Did he know the trade he was supposedly managing?
I don't really think so. He was in the Air Force, Navy, whatever. He was in the military for a while. He had the certificate and everything, which was all well and good. That doesn't qualify him as anything, but he was also the one that delivered 2 wedding cakes an hour away from Buffalo to the wrong halls, and they turned off his phone.
Okay, so it's basically
He was a tool.
bakery. He was a bakery delivery guy.
Oh no! He was just delivering those 2 that time.
Okay.
Partly because they didn't have me doing it for whatever reason at the time. I don't know. This was a long time ago, but he was a tool.
Because you weren't wearing a hairnet.
No, he was. Trust me, he was a tool. But be this as it may,
Like most managers, I mean.
sadly.
Yeah, well, how, that's a normal thing in our economy, but how is somebody who has no idea how to do a trade expect to manage others who do?
You know, that's an excellent question. And Bridget, I'm sure that you're probably going to have a little something to say about this one. People who move up through the ranks actually have an appreciation for what's supposed to be done and how and why, as opposed to people that just come in from outside that say, okay, guess what? I'm now going to manage everything, and everything's going to get changed over to the way that I want it to because it's my football now, and you don't like it. I mean, let's face it, how many nurses' stations get turned upside down because people come in from the outside?
Well, I mean, it happens in any job, really.
It does, but
So,
in the medical field, to me, that has a lot more running on the. That has a lot more consequence if something gets missed because of sudden uncertainties about things.
it does, but I mean, general problem is, knowing more than your boss does. And your boss thinks that they know everything. And, yeah, a lot of times they don't.
Yep, Dallin knows a little something
And
about that too. So
and
yeah,
even in the military, it happens. I mean, it's like the more incompetent you are, the higher up the chain you go, or you get
And because
promoted.
I also wanted to beg to differ with what you said, Shushin, that actually doing your job right gets you credit. Actually, it can have actually quite the opposite effect because, like what I said earlier, well, you're making us all look bad.
no, you're right.
Um,
You're right.
it's not. Yeah, well, just once again, I mean, nothing's really simple. I mean, you've got if you're working for a company that actually loves what they do, yeah, you are actually going to rise up in the ranks if you do your job right. But if you're just, like if you want to take your bakery for example, some guy comes up with an idea. Well, let's try to make money on something everybody needs to buy. Oh, everybody buys bread, so we'll open a bakery, and you know, somebody like that who has no idea about what they're doing, um, who just wants to make money. Well, if already the premise he's starting on is uh, fallacy. Right? I'm losing English, but I mean, yeah, but you're gonna fall into all sorts of other problems like questioning his authority and all that. He's gonna be doing his best to hide the fact that he shouldn't be in the fucking trade he's in.
Yeah, that brings up the something else that I have to put into the show notes again. I'm adding a lot of stuff to the show notes tonight. Look at this. The Peter Principle. Lawrence J. Peter. You thought Murphy's Law was bad. The Peter Principle, you cannot unlearn the Peter Principle, but that's a whole other thing.
First, you're gonna have to explain the principle.
The Peter
That's
Principle,
right.
sure, the Peter Principle is basically this. Everyone rises to their level of incompetence in an organization.
Rises to the level of incompetence.
Yeah. So what they're saying there, Joseph, is that people they'll continue to rise. They'll go until they can't, like they are unable to go any further, just because
They can no longer successfully perform the job that they are in.
yeah,
So if you're doing a really good job at something, okay, you know what? In the traditional commercial establishment, if you're doing a really good job at this, cool. Let's go ahead and give you a different job with different responsibilities because you've shown that you can do a really good job at that one. Obviously, you should be able to handle this one. Cool, you've done this one, great. Let's move you out of doing that job and move you up to another one that's got different responsibilities that, oh, you can't do as well. Well, you know what? You can just stay there until you figure it all out. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of people that just got promoted to jobs that you vacated that now have to learn how to do that job maybe as well as you did.
Now try to explain that rationally, that behavior.
It isn't. It really isn't. And Stephanie brought up something, and Stephanie, you're going to appreciate this, and I think the rest of you guys are going to, and Bridget especially, because this is a military piece. You know what? I got no problem with saying this. My brother, who went through the Air Force Academy, graduated, got his graduation papers from President Clinton, who, by the way, apparently is a really tall dude. Anyway, So he's been in for a little while. He was flying A-10s, and eventually, he's no longer flying. He's managing aircraft and base and whatnot. And they come in for the morning briefing, figuring out all of what's going on. And as he put it, this fresh out of the academy lieutenant is going ahead talking about, well, we've got this and we got that, and we can't do this and we can't do that because we got this and we got that. And my brother at this point is a captain. He's just like, hold on. Sergeant, what's actually going on, please? And the sergeant was nice and composed, and he's like, well, sir, we can do this, and we can do that, and we can do that, and we can do this, and yeah, we can make sure that this all happens. This piece, that's not going to happen, but we can make sure that that happens at this point with this parameters. Yeah, we can make this all work for you. Okay. So if there's one thing my brother learned, fresh out of whatever schooling is all well and good for your rank. Doesn't mean you know jack shit about how stuff operates.
There's book smarts,
Yep.
and there's street smarts.
Yep.
Well, there's a huge difference between doing everything, physically in school. You learn in school everything is a list of rules, basically. But with time, you learn that actually rules are for people who don't know how to think for themselves, or people who don't know the trade.
Well, it depends on what the rules are in the situation. I dealt with, for a little while at one point, I dealt with multiple transportation organizations, and the rules were set up in place because you're not allowed to have somebody step on somebody else's feet where it comes to jurisdiction on stuff.
Oh, that's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong by any stretch. It's just that there's always going to be more to the story, which is annoying as all hell.
Well, actually, I wasn't very coherent about it, but I mean,
No,
rules
you're
are basically there as a guideline for those who don't yet fundamentally understand why it should be done, why things should be done that way.
no, you're right. You're right.
And rules should evolve. I mean, there's no etched in stone rules. I mean, if there's a better way to do things,
Unless you're dealing with government work, apparently.
Well, yeah, rules should evolve if you can prove that the rule is bad or is no longer valid owing to circumstances, and if you can show that there's a better method, or there's something that can consistently disprove that rule. It's a scientific method. Black holes we thought were this, but we learned something. So now, okay, they're not this anymore. Now they're this.
oh, but that's why.
Well, now that's changed.
That's why we're not riding horses.
Well, exactly. So like having rules, having the basis from which to go off of, I still think is important. Because
From an
if-
education point of view, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Cool.
because, okay. Here's one, and this actually took me until a couple of years ago to figure out. Have any of you guys taken calculus?
I'm sure I did at one point.
All right. One of the exercises my teacher taught me was what's called curve sketching. Now, what curve sketching is, the way we had it is we had the equation, which was freaking massive. Like this was not algebra. This was algebra on a totally different level. Now, based on that equation, you would create a particular type. You would create a graph. But the idea is what if so for instance, again, going back to stars or to astronomy. So you look at some phenomenon through a telescope, and you've analyzed it, you've structured it, and so your thought is, okay, if I apply this amount of this value of whatever, then according to everything we found out, we should be getting this result. So you start plotting, okay, so if we add this, we see this. If we add this, we see that. And eventually you get your curve. You get your graph to show what happens. It becomes the basis of a theory or a law. But then so if you've been able to do that empirically, like you actually been able to observe what you've seen based on your predictions, how do you translate that into a mathematical formula so that you could create, say a computer model of it? That's where calculus comes in.
Or LSD, one of the two.
Well, trust me, it's almost the same.
Mm.
But the thing is, I learned about curve sketching. I learned how to do it, front and backwards. Never really saw practical application for it until I started looking at this kind of stuff. Went, well, shit. If my math teacher was still alive, I'd say, thanks. I can't use it because I've been away from it for so long. But the thing is, I finally understand what he was trying to get across is that you see something, you work, you test it empirically. So you see the results, you graph the results, and then you work backwards to find out what the formula is to create that same curve so that now if I apply X amount of force to this, my predicted result will be Y after running it through this formula. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't learned the basics first. And that's kind of where I was getting to my point is the rules, the procedures, all of that, you got to start somewhere and you have to understand it so that you can order in chaos.
My point was that you just said it yourself. You didn't understand the reason for the existence of the rules until you had to understand the actual function itself.
Yeah. And it just when you had said that rules are there for people that can't think critically, maybe I just overstepped because my thought was back. No, I understand where you were coming from. Is that when you're learning the rules, you can't think critically because maybe you're not old enough, maybe you don't have enough experience in life to make that leap. But you have your order set, and like, okay, I know all of this. I know it. It's maybe it's by rote, maybe it's by repetition, whatever. Now, what happens if I do this? And you take that step into chaos and see if it worked. But if it didn't, then you can still pull back and say, okay, I've still got my foundation. Let's reevaluate. Let's try again this direction. Okay, that didn't work either. Okay, let's come back to the base. Now let's try this direction. Okay, now we've discovered something. Let's build on it. So then you build and build and build. And maybe you finally disprove one of the rules that you originally learned.
Or
you go, hey,
you find a better method. But
well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Like if you take a list of rules, okay, you're in university, and then you start, for example, the tooling trade, or like if you're a lathe worker or something like that, you're going to start out with a few basics and all that, and you're going to learn how to do the trade, and you're actually going to become a good. What do you call that in English? A lathe worker, a turner?
No, that's a lathe operator.
Actually,
probably where the family name comes from.
Damn it!
But I mean, if you've been working in the trade for like 20 years or whatever, you're good at what you do, and somebody comes at you with a rule book, you're just gonna look at it and go like, yeah, and because I mean, basically, you understand the reason for every rule in there because you've experienced it personally. But then you've got people who start with the rule book and don't stray with it.
I
Which means if I follow this formula, then I'm going to know everything about this trade. But people who do that, in essence, I'd like to argue, anyways, they don't learn anything about the trade itself. Do you see what I'm saying?
yes, I'm just finding something here. Hope I can find it.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd have to follow that rabbit hole a bit further because, I mean, basically every trade we do, we're either bettering the possibility for our own survival or making survival possible for other people. And I mean, instinctively in the brain, that's how that works. But, and again, we're coming to responsibility. So if you're going to take the responsibility of learning a trade, okay, I'm serving this function in society. This is my purpose. You know, you have a completely different way of looking at it than somebody who says, well, if I do X, Y, and Z as this other person told me, then the result is going to be reward Z or whatever.
I
guess
just
I'm-
tossed. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just talking about work ethics.
Yeah.
I think.
I just tossed a clip in our chat from Star Trek: The Next Generation. It was where Scotty was on the Enterprise, and he's having a conversation with Geordi about switching an impulse engine or something to the auxiliary tank. And Geordi says, "Wait, the tank's not designed to hold that." And Scotty says, "Where did you read that? Or where did you learn that?" And he said, "Star Trek, or Federation regulations." "Oh, you mean this regulation and that one?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "Yeah, forget it. I wrote it." A good engineer is always a wee bit conservative on paper.
Yep.
So I think right there, that sort of that explains what you were saying about I think the term you were looking for the lathe operator was millwright, I believe. I could be wrong.
That's a new one, maybe.
My boss at the furniture company, that's what he was, a tradesperson as a millwright. I think. Don't quote me on that one.
No.
But right there, that's the difference between, okay, Geordi did everything by rote. He was rules and regulations by the book. Scotty has been in the business for so long. And even earlier in that show, he says, "I could tell how fast the ship was going by the feel of the deck plates."
Yep.
So to him, the Enterprise was your base, Chujin.
Yeah.
It was, he had that kind of relationship with that ship because he took the time. He learned everything about it, and he knew how far he could push it because that was his passion. That was his thing. He knew how far he could take the ship, how far everything worked on it.
It became an extension of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, Stephanie's just put in there, a millwright was much more than a lathe operator, was a practical engineer.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I
interesting.
misread that one completely. But
no, you might be remembering one of the correct, but it might not be encompassing entirely. But be that as it may, that's still a term I didn't know.
Well, and given the fact that that guy in this city alone, he started, I think, 7 businesses, 6 of which are still operating to this day. Like this was hilarious. We went to one, me, him, and a bunch of the other guys from the senior staff. We went to this one site because we wanted to talk to them about a software that they were using, just to see if we could adapt it to what we did. And these guys did mobile conveyor belt systems. So, like, basically conveyor belts on the back of trucks. If I'm being very, very simplistic about it. So we're wandering around the site, and he's looking, he's nodding at these machines, and I just look at him like, what's up? He says, "You see that one there? Yeah. And that one over there? Yep. And that one over there? Yep. I designed them." I'm like, "Wait, what?" It was it was right there that I realized that this guy was very, very worthy of a lot more respect than he was given by a lot of people. I saw him in a completely new light. And then he told me about all the other businesses he'd set up in the city. And me realizing now that, all but one of them still exist. The one that doesn't exist was the one that I used to work for that got shut down after I left because of things. But it was, let's see. I'm just reading what Stephanie said here. I know of one millwright who was sent out to a posh house in the 1920s to mend the water pump. He did that in a couple of hours, but had been given a week to do it. So that's the Scotty thing, just a day in the life of your average miracle worker,
Now, what's a Milner?
Oh my lord! She finishes that up when one went. Okay,
sorry,
to mend
yeah.
the water pump. Let's see. Found a load of motor cars in the stables, which was quite the thing to have to have a stable like that and to have your motor cars in that. When one went wrong, meaning the cars, the chauffeur did not know how to fix them, so the family bought a new one. By the end of the week, they all worked, and the chauffeur knew how to fix them. That's beautiful to me. That's beautiful. Then again, also, back in the day when all the machinery was all mechanical and there was no computerization to have to take into account too.
Yeah,
Everything was
you didn't exactly need to be Mopar certified to work on these things.
true enough.
If you want to, if you want to talk about, work ethic, and a lot of where I got that was my granddad. I mean, he could just look at a machine and know exactly how it works.
That's something special, man. That's something special. When you know your craft inside and out, regardless of what it is. That's
It's more than just craft. I mean, he understands. I don't know.
Well-
It's down to purpose.
well,
'Cause
sure.
if the machine is going to do X, then it's probably built, in this fashion, and requires a whole cocktail of knowledge, probably the laws of physics, and all of that together gives that. I mean, if you have an understanding of physics, you have an understanding of the goal that's supposed to be accomplished with the machine, then chances are you're going to have a better chance of figuring out how it works.
Right. And what I mean by the craft is that taking all that practical engineering knowledge and being able to spout out that information is one thing. But knowing how to get something out of it, especially something that isn't necessarily part of the design spec, that's art. That's a special kind of futzing around with stuff.
It's another way of saying that a trade is more than just memorization.
It is. It's the entire reason why kids get taught math and then get quizzed on math for exactly the same reason that Dallin was talking about. It's one thing to memorize the equations. It's another to know when to use them and what to use them for. And, you can always look up an equation once you know what it is that you're looking for, but it's a matter of knowing practically when you need that particular one to get what you need. To me, it's the same thing with engineering. You can know everything that there is about tensile strength of Damascus steel, but knowing how to forge a sword because you know all the different pieces that go into it, that's a different kind of thing. But I'm kind of stretching the metaphor just a little bit there. And I just realized we're pretty much at the end of the thing, and
Already?
yeah, I know. I had just realized just a couple of minutes ago that shit, we're at the top of the hour. Wow. And I feel bad because I mean I hope that you didn't feel like we were shutting you out of the conversation, Bridget, because
Oh, no.
I know that there's been stuff going on also that's kind of prevented, but it's okay for there to be a little bit of banging and whatnot. I mean, it's fine.
Oh, funny was after everybody was done in the kitchen, then one of the cats decided to get a case of the zoomies and was tearing through the house.
There's nothing like having a cat suddenly terracing around the house at 2 a.m. That's beautiful. No, there is one thing worse: rabbit deciding to do it.
Yeah, at least I don't have ferrets licking my toes. I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
There's something for that. And Stephanie, by the way, really quickly, forging a sword is highly skilled job. Forgive me for wording it this way, and I mean no insult. No shit, Sherlock. Oh my God, I've seen what some of the traditionalists for katanas in Japan do, and it's like a 10-man job to do this. But oh man, I know.
Not particularly. There's a great video on YouTube that shows A to Z the process of making a sword.
Absolutely. But I've seen the ones where it's the traditionalists, where there's like 8 guys when all is said and done, where like 4 of them are with the big sledgehammers around the blade, and it's just wham, 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 wham,
They're not using the pneumatic hammers that you see these days.
Yeah. Sorry.
Those are awesome.
Oh, they are. They are. Absolutely.
Yeah. I did throw, right when the show started, I did throw 2 links into the show notes, just because I didn't know where we were going, and I wanted to at least throw some good news at you. I talked about the first one here last night, and I just wanted to expand on it a little bit. Up here in Canada, we have a chain of drugstores called London Drugs. And they are... You guys have Shoppers Drug Mart down there?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
So they're very much like that. You can get more than just pharmaceuticals and other stuff. You can get... There's limited groceries, some electronics, a little bit of everything. As a matter of fact, London Drugs also has a kick-ass computer department.
I wonder if they're named
For
after
the-
my hometown.
Yeah, for the uninitiated, anyway.
Handy.
Anyways, so I caught this article, and I saw this on the news a couple days ago. And the headline that I've got now is London Drugs clearing space shelf for Western Canada's small businesses to sell their goods. So they're clearing some shelf space in select stores to give local small businesses a chance to sell their goods, because those small businesses have probably had their doors closed because of COVID-19. So what they're allowing people to do is to bring their stock into these London Drug stores, have them on display so that people can buy them. So, it could be a kitschy store, maybe a place that does more artsy craftsy type stuff, or...
Well, I could use another garden room.
Well, not so
I'm
much a garden
joking,
room.
but
But you see where I'm coming from. Like, just,
yeah.
a place that would normally thrive in places like that, in cities like this.
Be happy
They've
that
all
the
been...
competition is gone.
Yeah. But at least London Drugs is giving them the chance to continue to sell their wares and hopefully keep limping along until they can fully open, formally, which I thought was really cool. And then the second one I put in, this is something I just heard on NPR today. They were interviewing this author from Ireland who had apparently gone on a disaster tour. He went to Chernobyl. Apparently it's cool enough now, radioactively speaking, that you can actually, they actually organize tours through what's left of the town. So you can see what it was like to live there and get an idea of some history. kind of like a modern day touring the ruins. You go to like Chichen Itza or, Giza. You see something that, obviously stood the test of time for thousands of years. Here, it stood the time for, I don't know, a couple of decades. But apparently this, what they call catastrophe tourism, is a thing. So what I listed in the show notes there is 8 popular disaster tourism sites according to Popular Mechanics. And Chernobyl was number 1.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And I just looked it up. It was April of '86. So 34 years. Man, that's absolutely insane. But I also lived through that, so it's kind of a weird thing. We've got to go ahead and just wrap up over here. As fun as this has been, as much as my coffee was worth it, there's only so much I can do. Bridget, since you had the least amount of time, besides your usual close off, what else would you? Was there anything that you wanted to make sure was put out there? Because let's face it, we've pretty much had the time where you didn't.
I don't really have anything.
I was afraid you were going to say that. See, and for anybody that knows the study, I want Bridget to be speaking more than 30% of the conversation whenever possible. Thank you very much. There's some people that know which study I'm talking about. You are the ones that are, again, my people. Please tell me you know which study I'm talking about. Bridget, do you know which?
Idea.
No idea. Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, Bridget, one question.
Uh-huh.
Is Mike Pence fucked yet?
Okay, you know what? We're going to go another 10 minutes. We're going to go another 10 minutes on this one. And this one is just between her and I for this.
Okay.
What did you scream at the screen when you saw Mike Fucknuggets walking around a hospital ward without a goddamn mask on his gob?
It's like, you arrogant prick. What the hell do you think you're doing? And what kind of sense of entitlement do you have?
Oh, did you hear his excuse?
Oh,
Yeah.
he
we
wanted
did.
to look the healthcare people in the eye, and I'm like,
Oh, that
That's
was
one
part
of
it,
them. That's one of
But he
them.
also insisted that
he's been tested, so who
Oh,
doesn't
and he
need?
gets tested every day or something like that. Like apparently, he gets he's already been tested, which is fine for Monday, but Tuesday you could have it be asymptomatic and be a time bomb.
And you also have to have a certain viral load before the test will even pick it up, because it doesn't have 100% sensitivity.
And
I'm just like, they told you ahead of time, dude. Who do you think you are?
Which is really weird, because if you've got one side of that government, I use that term loosely,
it's fine.
saying that we're taking this seriously. It's a very serious thing. It's very serious. We're doing everything we can to fight it. Don't drink bleach. Instead, inject it. Yeah.
Already somebody who says it's serious sounds like somebody who doesn't understand the seriousness of it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the thing is, so you've got one side of them saying that, and then you've got, Stimpy McFuckface over here. There's my one. Basically flying in the face of everything, saying, well, I guess it can't be that serious. Or as Stephanie said, is he covered in the blood of Jesus? Is that it?
No, but this is all again going to the same behavior. I mean, it's like people just saying, "Oh, I'm fine." It comes down to
An
that.
example. I mean, good grief. But apparently Shane works, because the next day he came to Indiana at some plant and had on a mask then.
I saw the cover of the New Yorker had Trump on the cover, and he was wearing a COVID mask, but he was wearing it over his eyes.
Uh,
Yeah, if you're doing that, you're doing it wrong.
yeah, you want to
It's
talk
kind of-
about the stupidity of people with this whole thing.
Briefly.
And yeah, I'll find one more link. Another YouTube video from one guy I've talked about before, Jeff Holiday. He just recently did a. He does these shows. He goes after pseudoscience. Hard. Like, has been on Dr. Phil to shout down somebody who got on there to talk about her kimchi juice and how it cures cancer and regrows limbs.
Oh, good grief.
Anyways, he just did his monthly Wingnut Roundup recently. And oh boy. Yeah, there's a reason people are having the trouble in the states that they are. Again, I'm not speaking about us, but why shit's happening is because you've got people like who he showcased on his last video. Oh, there are some specimens there. Oh my God. How do these people live? Actually, one of them was, he's called the detox dude. And this is the same guy who said that your chi, your energy of being, is stored in your balls.
Oh yeah, I remember
After
that.
which Jeff Holiday said, "That's going on a T-shirt, a T-shirt I own." Just so you know, I have that shirt. Yeah, well, apparently he's back again talking about COVID and everything, and other people talking about how a bunch of LED lights have been installed in a neighborhood. But they're not LED lights. They're directed energy weapons of the Chinese government to get rid of dissenters when the time comes. I'll send you a link.
But basically, people just, okay. People who survive by imitators, sorry to use that expression again, but I mean, they have no fucking clue how to survive themselves. So they kind of get off they get rewarded by other people listening. If you don't know how to test anything yourself, you're not going to know the validity of whatever you're saying. And somebody who survives by imitation, I mean, that's not even important because all the reward is in just other people listening to you. You seek validation. The more people listen to you, the truer it is, basically. And that's how these people survive. Some even manage to make a living off it.
Yeah, they do. We gotta go ahead and we gotta get rolling. The last piece that I want to drop for everybody is that there is a lot of things. There really are a lot of things that popped up in my head. Trying to figure out what to talk about tonight. A lot, and I just had a really hard time trying to figure and isolate any one particular thing. I'm just going to leave you with this thought for this week, and please forgive me if this is a little bit of a downer. It's sort of meant to be. You got people on this side of the border yelling and screaming about the new weapons ban that's going into effect in Canada because Second Amendment rights. There are people on the Canadian border side who are barking and screaming about their Second Amendment rights. There's people yelling and screaming about how they need a haircut, so these people should be pushed into getting out there and servicing them. There are people who are pushing back, reminding, if you force us to open and we get sick again, who's going to foot the bill? And in the meantime, who's going to be footing the bill anyway? And if you force us to open up, we're no longer on that protective role for funds and help. And what are you trying to do? In Canada right now, as far as COVID is concerned, the current closed cases have a 13% mortality. In the United States, it's not been pretty either. I don't have the current percentage rate, unfortunately. In France, right now, it's 33%. Look, do I want this to be a bummer? No. Do I want this to be realistic? Yes. Bottom line, collectively, speaking on behalf of all of us, don't do anything stupid. Keep yourself protected. Keep other people protected. And I joke about saying, I don't want to be the one to get Betty White dead by this. But it doesn't have to be somebody that we know. We're keeping ourselves away from everybody else. We're putting up with the emotional turmoil of this whole damn thing for the people we don't know. You want to feel like rats in a cage? Fine. Rats in a cage have shown empathy. They've shown sympathy. We can do better. We don't have too much of a choice. So we got to get ourselves out of here. Like I said, I didn't want it to be a bummer, but there's a lot to consider. But be this as it may, as always, everybody, thank you very much for being part of our community and being with us. We hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives. Stephanie, of course, thank you so very much. You take care of yourself. Seriously. Just be really careful. And of course, all you guys listening after the fact, same for you, please. Please stay safe. Joseph, of course, as always, thank you very much for your time. You have yourself a decent week, and stay safe out there, man.
Yeah, you too. And yeah, well, thanks for everything.
No worry. Hey, look at the bright side. You close enough to all that radiation from the Curie's laboratory. Maybe that's helping to. Actually, that's probably not such a good idea. Maybe that's going to mutate the strain even worse. Never mind. I'll shut up now.
I'm going to become even weirder.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, we don't want the show to go on another about that. Yeah.
It is going to be one of those days, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's one of those negative things. There are some negative things that are actually that are proving to be a defense against COVID. But anyways, but just don't try everything.
No.
And don't listen to Trump.
That's all too true. That's a whole other thing too. That I'm not. We don't have another half an hour to go. Bridget, thank you very, very kindly. You take care of yourself very, very much, please.
Oh, I will. I'm still hunkered down in the house.
Yep, you and us both.
Yeah, I do not want the COVID.
Your contact information.
If you want to send me a friend request on Facebook, I go by Bridget Fitch. And you can also find me on my blog at bridgetfitch2112.wordpress.com.
And
Beyond the Trailer Park is still on hiatus. Yay!
And
what? I'm missing something here.
The three little words you always say to that one particular individual.
I had a blonde moment. Fuck Mike Pence.
I don't know how you could possibly. All of your you can't get any Wait, have you been able to get out to get the peroxide to? You know what? Whatever. It's
No.
fine. It's
No, but I mean, fortunately for me, I'm very low maintenance, so I haven't had a pedicure in like a year, and I don't care. I'm over it.
fair enough. Dallin, thank you ever so much for holding me together.
Hey, no problem. It's what I do. And of course, what I need to do tomorrow, if I'm awake, uh, got to go take care of the audio version of this show over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. And for any other random thoughts I have here and there, you can catch me at inthewind.yo5.ca. And stay tuned, because other things are happening that I'm not going to say anything about it yet, but you'll see.
In the next episode.
Pretty much.
Yep. There's a thing about that. Really quickly, we did a little test earlier tonight, trying to find out if I would be able to use the call-in line while we're on the air like this. I need to get in touch with somebody to ask if they would very much mind if I were to, how shall I say, borrow their overall stuff. Because if I can have a call in, I think that there is a show that deserves to at least come back from the near dead. I didn't tell the crew here what it is, but I'll tell them when we get off the air. So, as always, you all take very good care of yourselves. All of our information is at holycrapthevlogcast.com, including the call-in line, which has still only got 2 voicemails, one's from me, but the other one's all that kind of thing. There's a thing for that. Of course, that phone number is 859-HCTV-554, 859-428-8554, and we will be back again next week or sooner. I will have to explain that later. So until next time, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And again, I can't say it enough. Please stay safe. 15 years later, almost, I'm still in love with you. Matere Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone. As always, I don't have my hat on. I don't know where my hand's supposed to go. Good night.